Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching Cairo Local Time. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very controversial issue. We have a very important issue that unfortunately we have many parents that are not aware of problems and disabilities taking place with their children. Of course, a very big percentage is very aware of problems with children, but unfortunately we do have parents that are not aware of problems. Ladies and gentlemen, we will talk about students with disabilities and the challenges that face them. As a special unit for student counseling and mentorship was established to help and guide them at the Cairo University. And to shed more light on this issue, we are joined by Dr. Samaa Hosni, Assistant Professor at the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, Cairo University. Very good afternoon, Dr. Samaa, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. And it's lovely that we have you with us, and it's amazing that we do have enough awareness here in Egypt nowadays and at the Faculty of Economics and Political Science to open such an amazing center for children or students with disabilities, which is very important and which is very rare here in Egypt.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad to have you to have me here.
Dr. Samaa, first, when was the unit established, and what inspired you to find the student counseling and mentorship unit for students with disabilities?
So the unit was established at Cairo University, the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, at almost 2 years ago in January 2015. And the most inspirational story that I have met and encountered in my real life that inspired me and other faculty members to establish this unit is when I was studying abroad. I was studying at Harvard, and I had a blind student, a classmate of mine, and she was brilliant. She was excellent, actually. She was Palestinian, and she had all the services that she needed. She used to live alone. She cooked by herself. She had a lot of services that was given to her specifically because she was blind. And I thought about this. Why don't we have something like this in my school back home? And I felt this responsibility to do this. And the dean, actually, she's very enlightened in these issues. And she said, okay, I will support you, and let's have this unit. And we had the unit. So we are serving students with different disabilities. We have visual impairment, we have dyslexia, and we have other disabilities. So it's very important to give students equal opportunity to their classmates. They just do things differently. So we have just to accommodate for their needs. That's all that they need.
Dr. Samaa, you said many things that I need to comment on. First of all, you said you graduated from the University of Harvard.
Yes.
Okay. What did you graduate from at the University of Harvard?
It was a midterm master's in public administration, and this is different from my master's in statistics, which I got from Cairo University.
Okay.
So this was my
How
second
did you get to the University of Harvard as an incentive to students that are dreaming of being there one day? Because, of course, Harvard is a university that is a dream for any student that wants to be there.
Yes, absolutely. So it's a long story, but it can be cut short in a few sentences.
Was it a scholarship?
It was a scholarship. It was a
Wow.
scholarship by the Ministry of Finance of Egypt. I'm very proud that I have got this.
You have to be proud.
Yes,
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And I'm proud that Egypt has this this scholarship, because otherwise I wouldn't be sitting with you with all these achievements in leadership. The most important thing to get to Harvard is that you have to be a person of a lot of potential and trying a lot to reach this potential, and then they will help you achieve more and more. So, for example, I was volunteering in NGOs. I was doing some a lot of work in volunteering in different issues, in cultural issues, in even with disabilities, with students with disabilities. When I was very, very young, when I just graduated, I was teaching students with disabilities in schools how to read French and so on. And so I was doing a lot of work. I worked in different places. I did part-time jobs. I taught, of course, at university. So I did a lot of things. So that um, they need to touch that this person has a potential in leadership. This is the main key word that they're looking for. And of course, you have to
Potential in leadership.
in leadership. Are you going to be a leader in your community in 10 years, in 20 years, or not? And this is basically the...
And they basically work on you to be a leader one day.
Yes, and they have to have evidence that I walked several steps on my own. So it's not just that I'm saying that I want to be a leader, but
You're capable of being a leader.
And I'm trying to do it as much as possible.
Dr. Samaa, you said your roommate, the blind roommate that you used to be with her, was the reason behind your inspiration to come back here in Egypt and decide to have a center for disabilities.
Yes.
Okay, tell us more about it, please.
Yes, she wasn't my roommate, she was a classmate, but I visited her in her apartment several times. She was a very dear friend of mine. And actually, she was a psychotherapist as well for traumatized Palestinians in war zones and other war zones other than Palestine. So I was really blown away by her inspiration, by her humor, by everything that she did. So I said, okay, if we have blind students in my school, I will help them. And I want to see them as successful as she is. And actually, we had 7 students when I came back. We had 7 students with the visual impairments.
Here in Egypt?
Blind, yes, in my school only.
What was your school?
Faculty of Economics and Political Science. So
we don't call them schools
we
in
don't
Egypt.
call them schools.
That's why I got
in my faculty. In my faculty here. So we decided to help them. The administration, the dean and the vice deans were very, very helpful to give them all the support that they need. We changed the materials from printed paper to soft files so that they can transfer them to Braille. We help them do their exams, audio exams on talking computers. We have a great facility in Cairo University that helps this, but we just needed some administrative facilitation to make this possible. And the story of my friend at Harvard was not only because she was blind that I felt that we need to help the blind only, and not only students with disabilities, but there is something called psychosocial disability, which are people who are suffering from. So, for example, I had homesickness. I had counseling sessions there, and there they care a lot at Harvard for mental health and for psychological well-being for students to excel. Because they know that they have excellent students, but sometimes somebody has homesickness, somebody has lost a parent or a close friend, so they help a lot, not just students with disabilities. So I was being helped. I suffered several months from homesickness. I always have this problem when I travel abroad, but without this support, I wouldn't have excelled. And I got 2 awards, by the way, there. So I'm very, very grateful to all these services. So I said, okay, we will start this unit. We will help students with
disabilities. When were you back, Dr. Samaa?
2012.
2012, and
yes.
When did you start achieving your this idea and making it into action and a reality?
As soon as I got my PhD, 2014, we started preparing for it, and we started it 1st of January 2015.
So it's been 2 years
yes.
now. The student counseling and the mentorship unit, it's been for 2 years now. How long have you gone? How far have you gone?
We have counseled at least 1,000 students with different problems, family problems, educational problems. Some people have problems in their education just because they don't know how to communicate with their classmates, or they don't know how to communicate with their professors and ask for help. So we help them do this. Some people have, as I told you, homesickness, because we have a lot of students coming from abroad or coming from different
Who are
parts
those
of
that benefit from the unit? Only those at the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, or is anyone able to join and benefit from this unit, Doctor?
Anyone is able to come.
Anyone in Egypt
welcome.
is welcome to be handled at the unit.
Well, basically, because we're only known at the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, so this is the main target population.
Why don't
But
you
we help
advertise,
others.
Dr. Samaa, for people to know more about this unit? For example, it's my first time to hear about it when I met you this afternoon.
Yes, because it's still new and we're working to to institutionalize it actually. So we have plans. We have a 5-year plan to hopefully to start it in different universities. Some colleagues from different universities come and talk to me, and because they want to have something like this in different governorates in Egypt.
You
So
don't have flyers?
we do.
You do
We
have
do.
flyers.
Yes, and we have a Facebook page to announce everything.
Can you
that
announce
we have.
it, please, on air for everybody to know it, and then we're going to be writing it?
A Facebook page. It's
Yeah.
SMCC unit. SMCC unit.
CC unit.
Yes.
Facebook.
Facebook.
This is on Facebook.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more about the unit which faces the disability challenges and the student counseling and mentorship, it's on Facebook, SMCC unit, and it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, for all of you to join and know more about it. From here, we're sending this invitation and this message for all of you to join. Dr. Samaa, what are the challenges that faced you when you came to establish such an amazing idea?
The main problem was negotiating with a lot of levels. So, for example, I negotiated first with the dean was very helpful. So I didn't have to negotiate with her.
But the dean is of Faculty of Economics.
Yes, of the Faculty of Economics and Political Science.
She's a lovely one.
She's amazing. But for other, for example, the administrative stuff, they didn't understand what does it mean to be a student with special needs in general, let alone disability, but with special needs. So, for example, people with physical problems, they have to sit or they have to have their classes in certain places that are accessible to them. What does it mean to have an exam somewhere else other than the faculty? This is not acceptable because they were not used to it. But then we had to lobby a lot, we had to negotiate a lot, because we're not the only faculty that's doing this exam in the Taha Hussein library, in the Central Library of Cairo University. We have precedents, we have other schools that have started this earlier. So they got convinced, okay, we will give you the permission to get the exam out. Okay, and what else? Professors. I talk to each and every professor. I tell them more about their student that needs help, what kind of disability do they have, what kind of special need if they're not with disability but they have other special needs, if they need extra office hours to meet with them, how do we get the exam in soft copies, not hard copies. So this was the soft copy. This is not easy. We never gave exams in soft copies. And so we had to explain step by step why do we need soft copies, because the student listens to the exam rather than reads it with their eyes, because they use their ears, and so on and so forth. And then now after 2 years, I'm very, very grateful to, let me grab the opportunity to thank each and every person who helped make this unit a success, every professor who was understanding, every student who was willing to take the burden of being patient with us until the establishment worked. Every person in the whole faculty, administration, vice deans, every person. It's a teamwork. It's a teamwork.
Okay, Dr. Samaa, there's a very important question I want to ask you. Some parents do have children with disabilities, different kinds of disabilities. I'm not discussing being blind, or not the visual disabilities I'm discussing. The disabilities that the parents cannot recognize and cannot figure out. How can we, and sometimes the parents live denial. They deny that their children have problems. How could it be easily facilitated to make these parents understand that his child or his daughter has a problem?
This is an excellent question. Thank you so much for bringing it up, because this is all about the awareness that we're doing. Usually psychological disabilities or mental disabilities, or for example things like ADHD,
Exactly.
Which is hyperactivity in a child or a student. They're not easily recognized. They just parents.
Dyslexia, for example.
Dyslexia is not easy at all, because
Exactly.
dyslexia is just that the student doesn't know how
Exactly, he
to.
has
They
to
don't have
type, yeah.
the memory of reminding how the spelling of the word goes, or places where to go to these places. They have memory issues, but they have the student that I have with dyslexia in my at the faculty. He's amazing. He's amazing. He's a genius, but he has dyslexia. So we have to understand that having something different doesn't mean having something less. Sometimes we have excellent features, excellent capabilities, excellent skills, excellent passion, but they just need adjustment. So parents have to go
Exactly.
to psychologists.
How could you convince those parents that their child has a problem?
There are it's just if they just understand that intelligence is not only the IQ, or intelligence is not only something that we see, or we have 8 types of intelligence, and sometimes the child has to just get diagnosed, and we have to analyze their personality and their skills. What kind of intelligence do they have? What kind of capabilities do they have? These are all psychometric tests that are done in different NGOs that work with children with disabilities. There are very good NGOs. I just don't want to mention their names on air, but there are so many that help early diagnosis of children like this. For example, things like autism. If this is discovered in the first 3 years of a child's life, it can be improved dramatically. And there are so many NGOs that work with this. So if someone has a child or knows of a child that has different features than the rest of children, please go and diagnose them. See how brilliant they are in certain things, and what help do they need in other things, and please offer them this help, because we need to have more Dr.
Some
Taha
parents
Hussains.
do not admit to the fact that their children have problems, to the extent that you cannot even face them and tell them that they have problems. How could we do this? How could this be easier? For you as a professor, you as one that helps, it's okay, I know you can handle it, but for example, if it's me and I'm sitting down socializing and then I figure out that there's a problem with my daughters, or with my friend's daughter or son, and you're shy to say, or you know if you say it wouldn't bring you anywhere because she would not accept this. How can you do this?
Again, you have to negotiate. You have to just something about the child, and you have this awareness. You could say, wow, your child is brilliant at doing so and so and so.
However,
but did you check if he or she has so and so? Have you tried this test? And without mentioning the name of the test, but I mean, there are some tests, psychometric tests, or some symptoms that are. So, for example, you could say, have you tried to check if they have this or this symptom, or to a certain level that they need more help? They can be excellent at doing so and so, but they might need help in doing so and so. Oh, I noticed this. I noticed they're different in this. Use the word different. Don't use the word ill or sick or I don't know what. Choosing the words is great in raising awareness.
Dr. Samaa, what are the most inspiring stories you have encountered during your work for 2 years with students benefiting from your units?
Believe it
or
or
from
not,
the unit?
each and every student that comes to my office
So what
is
are the
inspirational.
what are the cases that cling as soon as I ask you this question?
There are mainly 2 or 3. One of them
Can you tell us
was
about them?
yes, with disabilities or students that I serve in general.
Oh, you serve in general.
Okay.
We want a
Variety.
story, yeah, a variety
Yes.
of stories,
Okay.
exactly.
I had a graduate student. I used to teach him as an undergraduate student who suffered major losses. He lost his mother, and then 1 year later he lost his father. He was very, very young, early 20s, and he was the eldest he had 2 younger, a brother and a sister, and he all of a sudden discovered, he was surprised that he is the head of the household. He's responsible for each and everything. He doesn't have any income other than his work as a very, very junior student, and all of a sudden he came to me devastated. He didn't know what to do, especially that his parents were very controlling. Actually, his father was very, very controlling, and when he passed away, this young guy didn't know. Yeah, exactly. He didn't know what to do in life, and he's responsible for his younger siblings.
What was your advice, Dr. Samaa?
I worked with him for several months. First, again, I tried to discover all his skills and capabilities. And I worked with him. Because I knew him as an undergrad, I told him, but you're excellent at doing so and so. You were excellent. You were doing much better than your classmates in this subject when I taught him. You are very outspoken, you are good, you are this and that. So I raised his self-esteem. And he kept telling me for several months, I'm useless, I'm good for nothing, I should just better die. And he looked terrible, he didn't cut his hair for several months and so on. And all of a sudden, he decided that, I told him, okay, what would you like to do next? Forget about the past. What's your next plan? He said, I want to finish my master's. I told him, okay, what's the plan? Next month, what are you going to do? And so on. So I gave him this motivation. I showed him a lot of motivational speakers on TEDx. Speeches of people who almost lost their lives or for any reason, and they got up. They carried themselves up again. And he used to come to me after work and sit for like an hour or 2 and talk to me about what he wants to do. And believe it or not, he became a mentor. He used to help younger students who suffered from educational or psychological problems. He's now studying psychology. His major is economics, but he's doing like free reading in psychology. He was amazing. I saw him helping his younger
Dr. Samaa, because we are running out of time, and I have to ask you one more question before we wrap up today's episode. What are your future plans, and do you think this unit can be developed in future to offer more services to students with disabilities?
The future plan is simply that hopefully the hope, the dream, that there will be a unit like this in every university at least. It's found in international universities, but not in public universities, and this is where we need it the most. So hopefully it will be founded in every university, and there is a plan for this. We will be discussing with other universities to do how to do this. And with connecting with the students with disabilities, there is now a university-wide unit for Cairo University. They are also discussing it with other universities as a role model, and hopefully we can change something in the community.
We're very hopeful, Dr. Samaa. Dr. Samaa, we're very proud we had you today.
Thank
a very
so
controversial issue, a very important issue. It's really, really amazing that we have such people that think like this in our country, and you're pride to us, you're pride to all Egyptians. Thank you so much for having you in our program today. Dr. Samaa Hosni, Assistant Professor at the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, Cairo University. Thank you so much, Dr. Samaa Hosni.
Thank you very much for your role, and thank you very much for the awareness that you're raising through your program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Samaa. Ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up today's episode of Cairo Local Time. Our main theme today was students with disabilities and the challenges that face them. A special unit for student counseling and mentorship was established to help and guide them at the Cairo University. And from here, Nile TV and from Local Time, we're emphasizing on this unit and we're letting people know more about it on Facebook, social media. Join them on SMCC unit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us in today's episode of Cairo Local Time. I was your host today, Rana Al-Khassas. And remember, Cairo Local Time is a daily program at 4 p.m. Cairo Local Time. Stay tuned, for we'll always be bringing you the most controversial issues on the scene. Until we meet again, it's goodbye.